today, but where does this rank in terms of your best performances of the season?
Yeah, you got me there. It's a good question. Probably the best. I think actually, I know we beat Man United 4-0 last year. I think we performed better today, overall. And I know the dynamic in a game changed when you get up 1-0 and, us or another team. But I think the way we dominated the game throughout, more or less, in terms of shots and dangerous situations, was very, very impressive. We are playing against a more or less fully strength Man United team. I'm not an expert on that, but from seeing what my knowledge of them are, we are playing without our entire back four. Our replacement left back in Enrique Long, our number 6 and captain Christian Nørgaard, Kevin Schade, and Brian Winning coming off the bench, which of course was very good. That just made it even more impressive, I would say. And the way we dominated throughout the game was incredible. 31 shots. 31 shots. Now we're not winning that game, I don't know. Probably just because we couldn't score. And I was almost losing my faith to the big football god when they scored. How can that happen? Football are indeed brutal sometimes. And how can you explain that you lose a game you're that dominant? That's incredible. Then I would say another thing. It's clearly that we have been in a spell where we've been struggling in terms to get enough results, draws or wins. And a lot of times I've been sitting in here and thinking we've done a lot of things right, but for whatever reason, either make mistakes, of course, but also the margin is not dropping for us, and we have lost too many games. And when you do that with the players' mentality, it's difficult to come back. And when you're this dominant that you were today, and you then concede a late goal, and then have the ability to come back, I don't know how to explain that. It's just incredible with the mentality and the character from the players. It shows everything about this group, and I've said it many times. That's why it's such a privilege to coach them.
We can talk a lot about the 31 shots you've had, but as you've said, your entire back four, injuries have really plagued your defence, and in the past, this back three has looked a little bit shaky at times. But what can you say about their performance tonight and how they played?
Actually, I haven't thought about that before now, because of course I try to think a little bit about what to say when you're coming to you guys or the other interviews. Very good question. Because we faced Man United team, where before the game, I mean that they've been informed the front three. Garnacho been in times unplayable, Rashford's back on good level, Højlund has been very good, Fernandes creating so many chances. And the back three, they were really good today. And it was only a half transition where it's still 3 50-50 duels where the ball suddenly in the end dropped for them. So I think they really played a good game today.
With Tony, he didn't get his goal today, but that assist at the end, what does that show about his character? Because, you miss those many chances and then the goal goes in. It's very easy to drop the level, but he's worked after that ball and then he set it on a plate for Ayer.
That tells a lot about him to just keep staying in the game. There's always something you can get out of it, and the chance actually dropped for him. Me knowing Ivan, he will not sleep tonight because he will blame himself that he didn't score and will be irritated. But hey, that happens. We all know it's. The most important thing is you get on the end of the chances. On any other day, he scored 2, maybe more. But to stay in the game and then the touch on the very difficult ball coming down, the composure to keep it, and then know that you actually reverse it a little bit back for a cutback is very clever.
Thomas, you said that you don't know how your team haven't won that game tonight. Obviously, you mentioned the 31 shots. Sometimes, obviously, you get into the dressing room after having that many shots and not won a game, you might think, well, we need to sharpen up our finishing. But was this sort of just maybe an unlucky freak result? You hit the woodwork 3 or 4 times. You got the Ivan Toney goal, excellent is there a sense in which actually it's pretty unlucky?
Yeah, as I think I'm a big believer that unlucky or margins or whatever. So let's say Ivan Way hit the inside of the post. 8 out of 10 times he scored there. For whatever reason he didn't tonight. So that's the part of. And then you say we talk a lot about this is a 100% chance when we have a striker 1-1 with the keeper. No, it's actually not a 100% chance. It's something we created together, coaches and the media world. Because if you do that, you only score 3 or 4 or 6. No, sorry, 6, something like that. So it's a combination. Mainly, I would say a little bit freak result in margins and a little bit unlucky. And then of course we also need to look at ourselves as something we can do better always.
With Jehor Yarmoliuk, he came into the side tonight. The last time I saw him play, he looked a little bit lost. But tonight, I mean, he dominated the ball throughout. Just what sort of improvement have you seen from him tonight and in the training sessions?
I've been very impressed by Jehor in many ways. I think I really like him as a player. And he had that spell, I think, in the fall where he started at 3 or 4 games, something like that. And then he got a little bit out of the team again, had a lot of substitution appearances, and started a few, I think, in the beginning of January. And then had a spell where he was just also in training, just a little bit below his level. But now, I think the last 3 or 4 weeks, trained very well. I think he came on against Burnley, did well. All against Arsenal, did well. I've been training very well, so I was actually not in doubt that he should start. And that's a big credit to him. Because I think Frank Onyeka have done quite well. So very, very pleased with his performance, and I think he hopefully got a promising future here.
Thank you.
It's, as you mentioned before, it's not the first time we've seen a really good performance go where you drop points. And while there are so many positives that you can take from
This time we actually didn't drop points from winning position. That's imagine that. That would be unbelievable. But
how
yeah,
much it's up to
yeah.
something crazy.
But you're right. Of course, it's a performance that should have given us 3 points.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there are obviously as many positives as you want to take from it. But when you look back on performances, I'm thinking about Tottenham, City away. Is it something that's starting to play on your mind, frustrate you a little bit, that you're just not getting over the line here?
Yes, of course. But I don't think any of us can explain why football is like this sometimes. Why some teams are more lucky in a season. And I think it's luck and margins if they constantly have a lower XG than the opponents and still get points or less shots or whatever. Because you definitely also proven you can't continue like that as a team because over time then it will really show your true level. And sometimes I'm thinking I'd rather want to be a lucky coach than an okay coach. But we can't always explain why we're not getting over the line. Last year we had these 12 games unbeaten, where there was a lot of performance, but also something a little bit dropping our way. And then it's suddenly, fantastic, we are on this run, we're doing everything fantastic. This time we're probably not doing that much different. It's just not dropping for us. But we of course need to look into, what I would say is that we have made more mistakes this season, bigger mistakes defensively than last season. But as long as the foundation is there, we just need to keep going.
Okay.